You live and in living color. And I am wearing pants today. We have a beautiful guest. I thought I put on the bottom because most of the time I tell them I'm not wearing pants. And they really think I'm not wearing pants. This beautiful lady that's right here in front of me and in front of you, the world, this is Jane Dorian. And she come up through Broadway and she got a famous godfather. I mean, like a real godfather. Well, Jane Dorian, welcome to the program. It's so nice to have you here.
Well, it is a pleasure to be here and spend time with you. I'm a huge fan, and your smile and your warmth and your energy just lights up the world.
I received that. I used to be uncomfortable when people would tell me that because I'm just trying to tell you what the story is, and they would just crack up laughing. I was like, oh, so I could do this for a living? So tell me about you growing up. Where did you grow up? What was life like for you when you were like 8, 9 years old?
Well, first of all, I had a charmed childhood because Jerry Herman was my godfather. And I thought it nothing to have Broadway stars who would come into my parents' living room and make Hershey bars. Charles Nelson Riley and Carol Channing made Hershey bars come down from the ceiling. So life was full of laughter and music and great food. And to grow up in Manhattan in the 60s and 70s, it was just the center of the artistic and intellectual world. And it's a gift that I will always carry with me.
Now, when you were growing up, did you realize that your parents knew famous people and that your godfather was a famous person, or was he just Uncle Jerry?
Well, he was just Uncle Jerry to me. And I think the story goes, I was about, 2 or 3 years old when Milk and Honey came out, and he took me to see the show.
Mhm.
And as we were leaving, he put me on top of his shoulders, and everybody was pawing at him. And I'd say, this is my Uncle Jerry. Leave him alone. He's mine. So, but most people don't realize Jerry was a very shy person. So his celebrity probably didn't mean as much to him as it might have meant to somebody else. As he would like to say, I'm just a songwriter. Well, that's
Yeah, right. Hmm.
exactly. I would say it's an x-ray to our souls, his music. And I would say there isn't a moment that isn't marked with one of his songs in our hearts.
Always. I mean, when Harlan, and I love Harlan B. Harlan Bowles. That's my
The best,
I
the
love him.
best.
He
Okay.
always has just the greatest people on here for me. And the fact that you were growing up in this, and like you said, he didn't think it was all that big of a deal. He just felt like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay, and what else? First tell people about Milk and Honey so they can know where your uncle is and where your godfather is in the world of lyricism. Is that a word, lyricism? Lyrics. Okay,
Lyrics.
yes, ma'am.
The lyricism is a word too. So may I start even earlier? So some people are going to say, well, how does a Jewish girl get a godfather? Because it's a little bit unusual. But my mother and Jerry met the first day of college at the University of Miami when they were 17 years old. And they were the two skinniest kids on campus. They circled one another, didn't say a word to one another, but as fate would have it, that night, they were at the same party. Jerry was at the piano playing the American Songbook, and my mother sat down next to him and started singing because she was a trained operatic singer. And they never stopped making music together until the day she died. So let's start there. His parents had a summer camp called Stissing Lake, and he was the musical director. So he had the opportunity to do everything for a show, whether it was lighting, playing music, or directing. And I really think Stissing Lake helped to form him. So cut to college, and he does all of these reviews and obviously does all of the shows.
Mhm.
Out of college, he does a couple of reviews like Nightcap. The Ed Sullivan discovered him, had him on a show. He did another off-Broadway show called Madame Aphrodite, then Parade, and then the producers for Milk and Honey came to see him and said, we're doing the show about Israel. Because remember, it was the 1960s. Israel was a new state or
Mhm.
country, and it was sort of finding its international legs. And so Jerry went to Israel,
Mhm.
and he was struck, even though he was an American Jew and he had a bar mitzvah and everything else, he was really struck by the warmth and how only one word got you through all of Israel. and that was Shalom.
Shalom.
And that was the first song he wrote for Milk and Honey. Well, cut to David Merritt comes to see Milk and Honey. For your audience members who may not know David Merritt was arguably the biggest Broadway impresario. He was just a hallowed producer because he had most of the big hits in the 60s and 70s, probably prior to that, but that was before my time. Anyway, he saw the show and he said to Jerry, he said, "Kid, I think you're very talented, but can you write an American musical?" And he said, "Mr. Merrick, there's no one more American in apple pie than me." And so he wrote Hello, Dolly. Now, Hello, Dolly, two great stories about that. One, Hello, Dolly was the first happy musical after the Kennedy assassination. And I think that's hugely important to remember because this country needed a way to rejoin the human race. We were devastated.
We needed healing. And the only way we got to that is because we latched onto one another and we held on to our faith and our beliefs. And we found out that we have way more in common than we don't. And so and isn't there something we always have to get out behind, kick down, knock down, tore up from the floor up. Then we realize, oh, we can do this. And then we stand up and we go higher and we go further. And that's what the music did, especially after that. I was in elementary. Am I dating myself? I was in elementary school when Kennedy was assassinated, and they came to the school and they said, sent the parents, everybody come home. I thought somebody in my family, in my direct family, died. Everybody was devastated, and it was just like such a weight. And then I'm thinking, well, we colored people in the projects, and everybody came together. The doctors, the street cleaners, everybody came together because we were really sick at that time. And look, we got crazy going on now, right now. Shut up, mother. Stop.
It's true. Well, maybe that's a beautiful lesson to remind everyone of, is that we can come together and we must come together. So Dolly is really about second chances.
Mm-hmm.
And I always felt that Hello, Dolly gave this country a second chance to heal and to move forward. Another great story about Dolly that I know you will love is the song Hello, Dolly was a hit before the show ever opened, courtesy of Louis Armstrong. And so back in the day, and now I'm dating myself, but you'll know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know exactly who you're talking about. And this is our story.
Okay, this is just us. All right, go for it time. Mm-hmm. So the singles were done on 45 records. They were about this big. And so they were two-sided. So Louis Armstrong went into the studio and recorded one song that was scheduled. And somebody said, "Here, try this." And they threw the music at him. He had never heard, he had never seen. He just improvised Hello, Dolly. Well, it was such a success that it knocked the Beatles off the chart. Number one. And number two, everybody wanted to see the show because of Louis Armstrong. I mean, it was truly a sensation. So anyway, from there, then Jerry wrote Mame. Now, what was amazing about Mame and Hello, Dolly is not only did they both run concurrently, but they were two shows that ran for over 1,500 performances, which was almost unheard of. There are so few shows that ever achieve that status. So, and just kind of getting back to, I would say the big Jerry Herman shows. So if Dolly is about second chances, Mame fought bigotry, and it's a period piece. And then you have La Cage, which is about family. And so,
I ask you, could he even, if he even tried, do you think he could have actually wrote a bad play, a bad Broadway show, bad music? I mean, because it's like everything he touched turned to gold. I mean, his legacy is just amazing. And to tell you how strong it is and how wonderful it is, we have 4 grandchildren and they're teenagers and 2 adults and what have you. And they sing Louis Armstrong's Hello, Dolly.
There you go. But
they're teenagers. Teenagers don't listen to music like that. He goes, "Oh yeah." And then he said, "Well, how do you know that song?" I said, "Baby, the song is probably older than both of us." And they were just so amazing. And now they have a love for, matter of fact, I'm just gonna put a plug in here right now. our oldest grandson, is amazing. This kid, he is destined for Broadway. Destined. He loves a good musical. He's the showstopper. I mean, he just takes it over. And you know how some people are just meant to be where they're supposed to be. This kid he was meant to do this. And I can't carry a tune in a push cart. My husband can't dance and what's a leg. The guy got 3 left feet, And this guy is amazing. This is how cool he is, Jen. If he were not my grandson, I would still go and see him.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That is truly amazing. Well, I'm just gonna quickly.
Okay. Oh, that's your phone ringing. I thought it was mine. I'm like, do they know we're doing a live radio program?
No. I just unplugged the phone so nobody would bother us. So anyway, I want to get back to. So I just wanted to get back to one other thing about Hello Dolly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if your viewers know this, but Pearl Bailey and Cab Calloway did Hello Dolly. Now, in my opinion, Carol Channing will always be Dolly Levi. She was iconic, and she is the standard by which all other, women play Hello Dolly. However, I think Pearl Bailey was the best. And
hey, you can't say that. Why not? Carol Channing was wonderful.
No, she was.
That's how I got to see her. That's how we saw it with Pearl Bailey.
I
was like, what?
She owned it. And the other thing too that I want to say is that, all too often people talk about, well, you have to, Broadway is either too white or too this or too that. Well, what I loved about Jerry's shows is that they were ubiquitous. They were universal. And I love the fact that Hello Dolly works in Japan as well as it does in the United States. You could have a Latino Hello Dolly because the source material is so true. And that's what it's all about. So you said, could Jerry ever write a bad song? No, I don't think he could ever write a bad song, but not all of his shows were successful. And I always asked Jerry, I said, when did you know when to put a song in a show? He said, Jane, when the emotion is so big that words fail. And that's why he could never write a bad song, because he was always true to the emotion. And so sometimes, the books didn't work, or sometimes the timing of a show wasn't exactly right. But he was, so like one of his best scores is Mac and Mabel. And unfortunately, I think one day we will crack the code on the script, because the script is so good, but it's a little bit dark. And everybody.
Isn't that life, though? When you said that he comes from a true point of emotion, and you want to get something out of that audience. You want to bring something up, whether they're laughing, singing, crying, get mad, want to throw shoes. You want to get something, and that comes from a deep ethereal place when you can pull that all about your spirit. And he just seems like the kind of person that he just put it all out there, so he could fill up again, put it all out there and fill up again.
Well, I think you just identified the sort of emotional pattern of artistic people. It's like they're on this roller coaster and they create, and then they kind of crash down because they're empty. And it takes them a while to fill back up again. But I mean, even something like Mac and Mabel, which is such an amazing story. Michael Stewart wrote such a great play to begin with. But somehow the pieces didn't come together the way that they needed to at the time. We're going to get it right. I mean, I know that we're going to get it right. But, Mac and Mabel is based on a true story of Mac Sennett and Mabel Norman. And so when you've got a true story, you can't fudge things around too much. But that said, the emotion of what they went through. I mean, one of his songs, I Won't Send Roses. How do you write a love song for an anti-hero, for someone who says, don't touch me. I'm emotional poison. You deserve better, kid. And she still loves him anyway. I mean, only Jerry could have written something like that.
See, like I appreciate what you said when you said that he cannot write a bad song because emotions are pure. even when you're in your darkest hour. And you said it's kind of dark. Do you think because of now that the time has passed that you all can put the pieces together to
Yes.
because the time has passed?
And once again, man, are you a smart woman? So, I liken the show to Chicago. When Chicago first came out, it was about 20 years ahead of its time. Okay, but when it came out later, everyone, wow, it was, so perspicacious. It was like everything that they wrote about back then was truer today. And I think that's what will happen with Mac and Mabel, because yes, I think people can see it with a different lens today. Back in the 70s, to talk about a movie star that overdosed, on heroin, I don't think that was exactly what the audiences wanted in 1974.
They didn't want to have to face the music. They want to pretend that's not going to happen to a celebrity. They're bigger than life. What do you mean? No, that can't happen. We're human first, and a lot of people forget about the fact that we are human, that they are human, and they deserve to have their feelings, to own their feelings, and not to feel like, oh, I'm not enough, you too this, you're too that. I remember when I actually really got into show business to like be into this, but it's still a fluke to me. And I was on a TV set, and the lighting director had said to the director, he says, I can't light her. She's too dark, and I can't light her next to a white person. She's too dark. And he said, look what the director told. I was just standing there, Jane. I was just standing, what? He said, I want you to get your stuff, pack your stuff, and I don't want you to come back here ever, because you will not talk to my artist like that. And he didn't have a problem with it. Well, she too dark. I can't, it's one thing. And he was like, live it.
Aren't we all God's children? How can you be?
That's the story they told me. Told me that's what they told me. I'm going with the story.
All right. And stick to it.
We need each other. We cannot do this alone. One of the things that really gets on my nerve, I'm telling you, when I hear people say, oh, I'm a self-made, so you are not a self-made anything. You did not do that by yourself. Let me just check you. Bring your behind over here so you can go to the house of correction. You did not do this by yourself.
Nope. We all stand.
You wouldn't be where you are now.
Exactly. We all stand on the shoulders of many, many people, and some of us are luckier than others.
And I think the lucky ones. See, I don't know if it's luck. This is mine. I believe is God showing that He has a sense of humor because He made me. And I mean, seriously. And so I know this, and I don't have time to put on airs. Life is too short. I'd rather somebody. And how you can feel people, and you could see them, and you could tell when they're they're just not quite right. And I'm the kind of person, I'll come over and say, hey, sweetie, you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? I'd rather you tell me no, I'm not, and I don't want to talk no, than to see you in pain or in anguish or in having some kind of situation, but you can see it on their face. I'd rather you tell me no than I would not. I saw that and I don't say anything. I saw that and that doesn't mean anything to me. It's got to mean something to you.
Oh, I mean,
who's gonna fix the world? You do know who's gonna fix the world. Jane, it's gonna be us women. We're gonna have to get the boots on and clean it up.
It's really true. But on that vein that you were saying, I can't begin to tell you the number of men that have come up to me when they find out, that Jerry was my godfather, and they said, when I saw La Cage, it gave me the courage to come out.
Yep.
And how powerful is musical theater? And something you may
I got goosebumps. Oh my goodness.
There's
nothing like a live performance. Oh my goodness.
It's true.
I saw Wicked and I was like, and I'm a Wizard of Oz crazy. And I go to see Wicked, loved every single minute. Bought the green lady and the girl in the book. And I was matter of fact, I saw it twice. And it's just the energy in the room that they were, and these people were like, they were singing like nobody was watching them. They were just showing up and showing out. I really enjoyed that.
There is nothing like a live human performance because it's a community in a small theater. And there's also a sense of danger. Like, is it all going to come together? And you are willing to leave yourself. You're willing to take that armor off for that 2.5 hours and be vulnerable and experience what the characters are experiencing. It's pure magic. And one of the things, I mean, as if we don't need more to love Jerry for, one of the things that he did is through the ASCAP Foundation, there's the Jerry Herman Legacy Program, and he is giving workshops and scholarships to high school and college kids for musical theater. So his legacy will continue. And I cannot tell you how it warms my heart, because the truth of the matter is that when you and I are really old, I hope our grandchildren wheel us to a fabulous new
so great. You said just wheel us to the auditorium.
Exactly.
And you get priority seating when you roll in.
Exactly. So that, but by some new Broadway composer and lyricist. So that's sort of the goal. Let's create a new generation. Let's encourage a new generation. And I'm just so thrilled that Jerry did that through ASCAP.
And the legacy that he's left. I'm sure if I ask my grandson, are you familiar with Jerry Herman? Because he loves Broadway and he's really very good. He's got a strong voice. He dances. I was tired one time. He played Donkey in what's this play called? Shrek. He played Donkey in Shrek because I was so tired. I had to go take a nap after that. They wore me out. Because there was just so much energy, and to watch these little kids, who are struck by the bug, and, they come up and they want to do it and they want to do it. And this kid, he does the work. He does the work and he teaches. He teaches.
So we're going to have to huddle up after the interview and get together.
Oh my goodness. Like I said, if he were my grandson, I would want to go and see him. And when our friends come and see him that have known him all of his life, they go, I didn't know that child was that talented. I was like, everything he knows, I taught him. Okay, except for the singing. I can sing a solo. Solo, you can't hear me. I pantomime very well, but it is watching these kids, be able to have this creative outlook and wanting to, do something. And when they took arts out of the schools, especially the public schools,
that is so wrong. I don't even know where to begin. And also, talk about mental health. When these kids, especially on the high school level, have the opportunity to sing these songs and then sort of pick them apart a little bit and interpret them, it gives them a window into their own psyches and makes them healthier, more stable people. They understand the world in a way that you can't talk to kids like that. They have to have the experience for themselves. But musical theater is such a safe, healthy place for them to do that. And I just wish it could be in every single classroom in the country.
Oh, we're putting it out in the universe. We're going to put it out in the universe. And I honestly believe that the universe will open up and conspire for the creative success of our families, our communities, and the world. Because without the arts, I don't know where I would have been. Because you had to do something. You got to play up. I wanted to play the tuba. Okay, but it was too big to come in the house. When I put it on the first time I put it on, it's kind of heavy. And they were like, okay, no, give us back the tuba. I ended up playing the B-flat clarinet for many years. I did. And so to be able to watch the creativity, to watch a story come together, and especially and as a person who's been on stage for many, many years, I still love a live performance. There's nothing like that. And when the artists get out there on that stage and they're giving you everything, I'm sucking it up with a flavor straw. I want to leave there with something. If I'm mad, if I'm sad, that's how Rent does you. Remember the Broadway play musical Rent?
Yes.
Oh Lord, I was so tired. I needed to go take a nap while I was watching the show. And it was just, I just can't imagine these kids not having this outlet. Everybody's not going to play in the NBA. Everybody's going to play football and basketball. Everybody's not going to do that. What's going to happen to the teachers? What's going to happen to us with professors? I don't want my professor going to the NBA. I want my professor to be over here with me, teaching and instructing me and giving me some guidance and direction. And just do what you love. Because I know they say if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
It's so true. It is so true.
And it's not work. It is not work. You get up and you jump up. What keeps you jumping out the bed and keeping Jerry's legacy alive?
Oh, I mean, come on. I mean, not to share this, not to make his work accessible. I mean, I pinch myself every single day. And just to, I was in London. Imelda Staunton, she played the Queen on The Crown, this television series. And to see the Brits, who are typically a staid group, a staid audience, they politely, applaud and everything else. They were on their feet screaming because that's what a Jerry Herman musical does. And when she comes down the stairs for the Harmonia Gardens and she has rejoined the human race, it is such an instinctual response. The audience cannot help themselves because you realize she did it and you want to cheer her on. So all I can say is I can't imagine the world without a Jerry Herman musical. And thank goodness somewhere in the world every single day, there's a Jerry Herman musical being performed.
And he's up there because, your body, I heard this the other day and it was really it was really sad. I think it was on a TV show, whatever, but they said, you die twice. Your body dies, and then you die when they stop calling your name, when they stop remembering you.
It's true.
That's a double death. So you gotta, and it's all of us are supposed to put down footprints. It's like you said earlier, we stand on the shoulders of giants. How many women, did we ever would think would be directing a piece on Broadway or being the vice president of the United States of America? I mean, this is what we do. When you stand in your purpose, and we get scared. I bet you there were times that, when you're doing what you do, you go, can I really pull this off? Have I bitten off more than I can chew? I look at him and go, are you stuck on stupid? Do you really think you could do this? I think I could do it. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. And to have the passion for it, because what we do, you have to have a passion for. That's why I don't like when they say, I'm a self-made. Only thing you can be a self-made of is a self-made idiot. And if you're not gonna take that, shut up.
It's true, and especially the theater. The theater is a complete collaboration, from the person who lights you, to the sound director, to the person who helps change your costume, to the director, the choreographer. It's one big hand-holding operation every single night. And if you don't, and also I think that's what made Jerry so successful and unique. He didn't write in a bubble. He right up there, he says, it's not working, don't worry, you'll have a new song tomorrow. And one of the things that's to this day blows me away, I asked him, I said, do you write the music first or do you write the lyrics first? And he looked at me like I had three heads. Simultaneously, he said, it just comes from here, out my fingers, and the song is written. And he was rejected from Juilliard. He did not know how to read music. And they said, you have a gift. And if we train you, we will ruin that gift. And thank goodness they didn't train him. He played like a 20-piece orchestra. And whatever was in that brain was just free to write this glorious music.
It's really a gift. I'm always fascinated with the percussion section of the orchestra. That people can play the piano, sing at the same time. Now that's a skill set. Everybody can't do that. And when you're good at it, like Jerry was great at it. He was great, a past master. So do you get the opportunity to talk to other people who are writing for Broadway, the new kids on the block?
Well, I would just say keep on writing. Don't worry. Don't judge yourself too harshly. And here's an example. Jerry thought he was going to be an interior designer. He loved design. Most people don't know he went to Parsons School of Design in New York City.
How about that? I didn't know that.
All right. But his mother said, I call it the mother mafia. She said, she goes, I think you're really talented.
The Godfather and the Mother Mafia. Oh,
Mother
you got some hood in you back there.
I do, somewhere.
Got some hood in you.
So anyway, so she said, through a friend of a friend of a friend, um, she got him an appointment with Fred Lesser, who looked at his music. And he said, "Kid, I really think you have talent." And he encouraged him to continue to write. Now, that was part talent, part opportunity, part luck, but it all kind of came together for him. So I just say you got to keep on writing. One of the things I miss about New York, it used to be there were all of these studios and the giants in the field, whether they were the choreographers or the directors, they would have workshops and they were very generous about letting younger students observe or participate, and that's kind of gone. And it takes
because they think they know everything, and now we got AI. All you gotta do is give me a dossier on Jane Dorian. All right, 2 seconds later, that's your whole life on it. And to me, I think we got to really be careful with that, because I think it's gonna stifle a lot of creative people to not use that brain, to not bring that passion through their bodies when you could just talk on the little device. And it gives it it's kind of spooky to me. It's great, but it's spooky.
Well, and I agree with you. And I have 2 comments about that. One, you can't stop creativity. It has to come out.
Okay.
And the other thing too is, if people use AI as a tool, it might actually further creativity or at least speed things up a little bit. But if you, as you're suggesting, use only AI, then it is no longer creative. Because, I always go back to Scully. You remember the pilot, that wonderful pilot that successfully landed the plane in the Hudson River?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
All right. Well, all the computer models had him doing differently. And if he had done what he was supposed to do using the computer models, all the people on that plane would have been dead. But because he had that, call it creativity, divine spark, whatever it was, in that moment, he was able to land the plane on the water. That's the problem with AI. AI only knows what we program it to do. But as humans, if we're inspired by God or by our creativity or some synapse, call it whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter, then we've created something new that AI may or may not be able to permeate.
I give it the blues. I'll ask for something and it'll give me. I said, that is not what I asked you. See, and then I go, I have to remember it's artificial intelligence. And my husband he got me off the roof the other day. I said, I'm sick. He said, all you have to do is unplug it, honey. It's not a living thing. Just unplug it, step away from the computer. And you know what I call it? Let me tell you what I call all this stuff. EC, electronic crack. Because they I can't find my phone. Oh, I lost my phone. I'm like, it's a telephone. Until they forced it on me. They forced me to get a cell phone. And I rarely use it. I don't even remember the number half the time, because I'm still in the old school. If you call me and you don't get me, if it's important, you'll call me back.
It's true.
And I want to keep a dumb home. Everybody got the refrigerator's got a TV in it. You don't have to flush the toilet or the flush for you. You don't have to put the toilet seat on and do everything for you. And I'm like, well, when do I get to do the living part? It does everything and it's making people lazy.
It's making them lazy. Did you see the movie WALL-E?
I saw that. And, that was really something.
People right. And they used Jerry's music in that one too. But it was so, it nailed the future problem right on the head. And I was given a smart toilet as a gift, and I let my dogs drink from it now because they love the fact that it goes up. They can stand in front of it, goes up, and that's their water bowl. I mean,
see, that's why I could not have a pet. I don't do well with them, because you start talking to them. And out here in California, they really love their animals. I mean, they put clothes on the dog. Okay, God put them in a coat. The coat is all right. You don't need to go buy a dog coat and put it up. Well, they went off on me about that. I was like, okay, that's cool. All right. No, see, I would have a pet if once they grew up, they could learn to drive and wash the dishes. I'd be happy.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to try teaching my dogs that.
That's what I'm saying. Well, you show them how they can drink out the water and you let them. How many dogs do you have?
I have 2, and they're big German Shepherds, and they're the loves of my life. They're so smart, and every day's a party with them.
Are they the same age?
No, I've got father and son.
Oh, how cool is that? Are
Yep.
they very territorial of you?
Well, the father lives for me. There's just
Okay.
no two ways about it. So every once in a while, he lets his son come and give me a kiss. But yes, they're very, very territorial of me. The son loves my husband a lot more.
So now, did Jerry ever marry? Does he have children?
Okay, so no, Jerry did get married later in life. His husband, Terry Marlar, did pass away.
Hmm.
And basically, I was like his daughter, to be very honest with you. I mean, there really wasn't a time. Jerry, I could tell you New York stories that they truly would bring a smile to your face.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, I was in the second grade
Mhm.
and I had to write limericks, and I was really having a hard time. So I called Jerry and I said, "Can I please have some help?" He was in a big Broadway meeting on Main at the time, and he pardons himself. Now, do you remember those telephones with those incredibly long cords? I mean, the cord like as long as a football, not the curly ones. The
You're
ones,
talking about what that plugs into the wall.
exactly. So he goes from the living room where his phone was, and he pulls that phone all the way into the little bar area that's on the outside of his living room, and he crouches down under the bar so nobody would see him. And he spends 20 minutes helping me with my limericks, and then he goes back to his meeting. I mean, truly, truly. I mean, we went to Old McDonald's farm together. We went to Radio City Music Hall together. I mean, literally, he was my
Your
dad.
other parent.
He was.
And a lot of kids don't have that. Our kids and some of my nieces and nephews, they have. I'm godmother to a lot of them. And then I found out, I told them, I take that position very seriously. Because when somebody asks you, if something happens to me, no, when something happens to me, will you take care of my children? I will trust you to take care of my children. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Kids is a big responsibility. Shoot, I tell people all the time, I'm not an adult. I'm a adult.
Oh, there you go.
I'm a adult. I'm proud adult. And I don't like adults. They suck. They are just really mean. They take life way too serious. I got put out. I've gotten put out of a lot of places. I got put out of a funeral one time. Now you know that's bad when you get put out of a funeral.
No, I think I applaud you. What did you do?
See, what? No, that I got put out of a funeral. Okay, so this is what had happened. One of my sister friends, her husband was killed, and we're all sitting on the front row because they were like my sister, so I'm all sitting on the front row, and the widow is like 2 seats away from me, and it's she, her sister, me, and her other sister, and I'm sitting on the edge, and so I leaned over, and I said, why are we whispering at a dead person's funeral? They can't hear us. She responded I don't know. Why are we whispering? I was on the floor. You know how you get that contagious laughter? You don't even know what you're laughing at, but everybody else is laughing, and they make you. That was it. I literally was on the floor. So the pallbearers come over, and they got the little smelling stuff. And when they got me up, and I'm still laughing, it was like, oh, we thought you had fell out from no. He said, you got to go. You got to turn the whole funeral out. We had a ball. That's the best funeral I ever went to. Like it's supposed to be a celebration.
Well, that's just it. Well, I'm sorry you didn't know Jerry and my mother back in the day, because they managed to get thrown out of Radio City Music Hall. They were laughing so hard, they were ejected. So, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, if you can't laugh until the tears are streaming down your face, what's the point?
I could not. And this was like many, many years later. We're at Madison Square Garden at a big concert. And it's Gladys Knight and all these big, it's like a big giant concert. So I'm in the back. I'm sitting in my seat, and they got intermission. I got there right before intermission, so I'm sitting there, and some girl and her girlfriend, they came up, pushed my husband out the seat, and said, "We gonna take pictures with Mother Love." They was charging people $5 for the little Polaroid picture. I'm like, "Where's my cut? You done made an It was hilarious. So now it's a whole big thing, and they came all over, and they were standing on the furniture, and they was acting all crazy. So the security guard comes out, and it's like 4 of them coming. and they go, and they're my security team for my TV show. These are my security, and they go, why am I not surprised? I ain't even surprised. Come on, girl, get up, come on. And my husband is cracking up. He thinks this is hilarious. I'm like, and I start waving at the people. I got everybody all wild. So they make us leave. We go in the back, and it's Isaac Hayes, and he said, why am I not surprised it's you, Mother Love? Why am I not surprised? So then I'm getting ready to go back to my seat. They said, no, you can't go back to your seat. You have to stay here. Gladys Knight is coming on, and I don't realize her mic is hot. She and I just chit chat like girlfriends with, and you can hear this all in the auditorium. They said, no, you have to leave. You're causing a disruption. You're a fire hazard. And I said, well, I'm going out the front door. I ain't going out the side. I'm going out the front door. And we went and laughed so hard all the way back to New Jersey.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
So now you know why they don't let me out often.
Oh, well, I think the world would be a better place if they did let you out more often.
Yeah. Are you still in New York?
No, I live in Los Angeles.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
Where's our lunch date?
We could
go to a fancy restaurant and get put out of there.
Oh, done.
See, you're not helping. See, that's why I'm talking to people like you'll get me in so much trouble. And just so you know,
yes,
I keep bail money in my shoe.
Okay, good.
So you don't have to worry about anything.
I'm not worried at all.
So what besides keeping his legend and his music alive, because it's going to be, we'll be talking about him 500 years from now. So he'll never die that second death. Because you talked about so many wonderful things about him. Did he ever have to scold you for anything, or was your like just a party?
No, we never had a crossword between us. And the only time I ever saw him raise an eyebrow and then he hugged me was, so my mother died of a massive heart attack quite suddenly when she was 60 years old. And talk about funerals. He was dealing with HIV at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He had about 3 T cells left. And the doctor said, you can't fly from Los Angeles to New York. And he told his doctor, he said, what does it matter? I've got one foot in the grave anyway. I'm going to say goodbye to my best friend. He went on to live 30 years longer. But and so, you know, he came, he gave the eulogy, and it was just, I mean, her funeral, talk about great funerals. That was probably the best funeral I've ever been to in my life, because all the people that came and sang for her, like she had sung for everybody. And of course, Jerry played and then he gave the eulogy. But so he came back, and about a couple of years later, after he'd been on protease, he needed heart surgery. And I said, I hope your affairs are in order. Mm-hmm. And he looked at me like he was going to scowl at me, like that's not your business. And then he looked at me and it's like, oh my God, I need to do this. And literally, we never, ever, ever had a crossword. It was just the most joyous and joyful relationship you could possibly imagine. I was named after him. I mean, literally, the day he was at the hospital, the day I was born, and the day that I was giving birth to my daughter, who was subsequently was also his goddaughter as well, because lightning can strike twice sometimes. He had an infected finger. We both walk into the emergency room at Cedars-Sinai at the same time together. So literally, there was never a time when Jerry wasn't there until 2019. So,
but he's still here. His spirit is here. The music will live on forever. You know, and that dark production, you're going to get that done.
Of course, we're going to get it done because everything has its time. Just because it doesn't work one way, that's the magnificence of the creative process. It's just another opportunity to do it again. But Jerry and Sarah, my daughter, had a fabulous relationship. I'll never forget. She was about 2.5 years old. We were in the car, and there was a production of Hello Dolly on. Carol Channing was singing. They were singing Hello Dolly, and I said, Sarah, Uncle Jerry wrote that song, and she went, "You mean Uncle Jerry wrote a song about Barbie?" And then cut to her lovey was Barney the dinosaur. And it was a little bit confounding at times, but I think I must have had 12 of them so I could constantly wash them. And we came to know Cheryl Leach, who created Barney the dinosaur. So Cheryl said to Jerry, we're doing the movie Barney the dinosaur. do you mind, would you give us the honor of writing the song for Barney? And he knew how much Sarah loved Barney, and only because of that, he said yes. So he had 3 meetings with Sarah, and they got on the floor and they played with Barney. And the first 2 times he looked at me like, Jane, I don't know how I'm going to write this. Like, I don't get it. And then the 3rd time he got it like that. He said, I have it. We both lived in Bel Air at the time. He ran down the hill to his house and he wrote the song Barney's World of Imagination, because he understood that playing with Sarah, Barney's just a stuffed animal, but Barney gave all these young children the conduit, the permission to go to their play world. And Bernadette Peters recorded the song with a 30-piece orchestra, and it is spectacular.
That'll never go out of style. And I see a lot of kids playing, just playing with toys with their friends outside. Everybody's got their face in that electronic crack phone, and all you see is the top of their head. And we've got to be the ones, since we're going to be the next ones that they stand on our shoulders. So we've got to be strong. We've got to be committed. You can't be all wishy-washy when you got kids, because a kid will cut you to the quick. They will ask you, well, why she got that big knot on her head? Oh, Lord, please let me tell the child, stop pointing. Because they're pure. I think the 2 purest ones are babies and old people.
Right.
Old people, my husband and I, we found out from my grandchildren that we're not old people. They got to categorize old people, and then there's old people. And I said, well, what does that mean? They said, well, old people, when your voice start cracking and you're all bent over and you're humped out, so you better hope you get halfway to that. You better be glad you above ground. And so I said, well, what if that's old, or what are me and Papa? They go, y'all just old. I said, well, what constitutes? Y'all can't be old. Y'all are always traveling. You always gone. You always got a house full of people. You always cooking something. You always going to have an event. You make a celebration out of any day that has a Y in it. I don't need a reason.
Oh, it's today, is Jerry.
It's today. Oh, I got one for you. Ask me, Mother Love, when did you get old?
Mother Love, when did you get old?
Tomorrow. I ain't got time for that crap today.
There you go. Exactly.
I do the old thing on tomorrow, but not today. That's not working for me. It doesn't. Oldness doesn't go well with my complexion. And do you see, as you're getting older and more refined, moving through and you're comforted, and do you walk past your mirror and see your mother in your face?
Yes. It's so bizarre. My mother, myself. It's like.
And when I started wearing glasses, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. And when I would go to Cleveland to visit, and I started wearing glasses, literally, I go to my sister's house. I was always surprising her. And I would go to her house. She opened up the door. She said, oh my God, you look just like Mama. Slammed the door in my face. Wait, what happened? And it's, oh, you look just like Mama. Oh, I said, well, isn't it a good thing that I look like our mother and not like some stranger down the street? I'm just asking a question. That's why we got to keep our creativity and allow the arts and whatever it is, if it's painting, if it's sculpting, if it's doodling. I'm impressed with I know you've seen all the graffiti. Some of these kids are so talented.
Yes. Have you done the tour downtown?
Oh. Is that amazing?
It's beyond amazing. And I'm really glad. I mean, for your listeners who may not be in the greater Los Angeles area, once it's completed and tagged in a certain way, people know they are not to.
And that's like sacred.
Exactly.
You don't that some stuff you don't mess with. And I'm always amazed that they can get up on the overhead on.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me you could climb up there, come over the fence, spray paint it, where you haven't paid any taxes, and you climb back over? Nah, either you crazy or you're really good at what you do. And you could be crazy and really good at what you do.
They're like Spider-Man, I mean, it's crazy. I literally don't know how they do that.
Listen, just looking at them, I need a hip replacement. I told you, that's just it. So what do you do when you're just doing Jane?
Well,
go
a lot of things. So I have been blessed with more energy than 25 people combined. So I sell luxury real estate in Los Angeles, and I have a wonderful team called The Advisory. at Carrollwood. So I have the joy of meeting people from all over the place. And, there are a lot of similarities between real estate and producing a Broadway show. It is a production, it's collaborative. Things have to happen in a certain order, and then boom, it's showtime, and you get to close. So I do that. And as I said, I've got my dogs, and I was a dancer in my first career. So I love to dance. I sort of give myself my own little class. And I had a charity called Ballroom Madness that brought dance to underserved kids. And really, ballroom dance is about partnership skills. And it's, feeds into what we were talking about. And, if you can acknowledge that another human being exists, most of the barriers break down. And I was shocked to learn that most kids didn't even know how to look someone in the eye and shake their hand. And that's huge. Things we take for granted are huge. So one of my all-time favorite moments was we were teaching a 5th grade class in Compton. And the teacher called me and she was crying. And I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "No, these are not tears of sadness. They're tears of joy." She said, "My 5th grade class, who is normally fighting, they're all practicing the tango." Because
Dance has no limitation.
So you see, if you bring the arts to the kids, they sublimate all of their angry or bad feelings. They need a place to put those feelings. That's why singing, dancing, and painting, it's a way to properly channel all of it. Feelings are good, but we need to be taught, we need to teach our children how to funnel those feelings in a productive sort of a way.
Because, we're going to get angry. We're going to get upset. How are we going to handle that? And when they see adults mishandling, going off the deep end, screaming and cussing at the kids and what have you, what do you think where they learn that from? They learn that behavior from you. They learn it from the other adults that you have your children around. You have to remember, they used to tell us, birds of a feather flock together. Well, I don't want to be over there with them birds. Nah.
No. So,
our kids get so caught up because, and my husband, he says this all the time, it's because of the disconnect with families and community. We were raised in a village, we had people looking out for us.
It's true. I mean, I know people have many feelings about churches and synagogues and things like that. However, they were the sort of the solar plexus of our lives, and you did things for the greater good of a community. And to lose that, kids aren't even getting married today. How do they meet kids if they don't meet in school or they're introduced? It was through all of these different programs, through church or through school, or listen, I can remember my mother dragging me places to help other people. It was
because they had such humanity, and they could see. My mother used to say, "Oh no, baby, we got to help people who need our help." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, aren't we poor people living in the projects?" She said, "That doesn't mean that you get to be nasty. That doesn't mean that you get to be, be fighting, and none of that. We were in a village. We all the adults in our neighborhood looked out for all the kids, and all the other kids looked out for the kids. That we had that camaraderie, And out here in California, everybody is so spread out,
Plus cars, and we're behind gates, and it's just, I know, it's crazy. So I remember my grandparents for North Carolina. And so my grandmother would leave the extra food on her porch every night and turn off the light. It was gone the next day. She never knew who took it. She didn't care, but it was there. Or, the pastor would come to my grandfather and say, "Mr. Harry, so-and-so lost his job." So my grandfather wouldn't go, "I need some help." He would say, "Hey, Joe, I really need some help at the store. Do you mind giving me a couple of hours this week?" It was about helping people and preserving dignity. And that's the piece that I find missing, is that we strip people's dignity.
And it's a huge piece. And people want to be heard. They want to be seen. Oftentimes, they might not even are looking for a solution. They just want somebody to hear them. They need to. They just want to get it out. And then when they're hampered from this, when we were growing up, they used to tell the fellas, "Oh no, men don't cry, men don't show their emotions, men be all stuck up." And then you wonder how come they go book wild when they get in their 30s and what have you. You have to teach them and show them compassion. You have to let them know that you love this person. Our son and all the grandkids and everybody that know my husband and I, they say, "Why y'all always act like y'all date?" I said, "Because I could do bad by myself. If he can't date me, what kind of crap is that? I'm not gonna be looking at the same person." Oh, no, 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 no. It's not going to happen. 52 years come October.
Oh, God bless. That's
Yes, he going to get into heaven real quick. Hold on. You, Missy, you sit down right here. You sit, because you got some explaining to do. That's why I'm trying to clean it up. I'm working to listen. I started out, I was 5 heathens. Now I'm down to a heathen and a half. So I'm making progress.
You know what? I'm betting on you.
I see. Okay. Don't, because it might come back. But I've been doing pretty well. I don't cuss people out like I used to. I used to have a short temper. Okay, I don't really have a short temper. I just check them when they need to be checked. And a lot of these kids don't have that foundation at home. The father is God knows where. I was talking to this one kid. Oh my goodness, he done hooked up with this woman who has 11 children. I'm like, so you're just walking into a disaster, and they this quick to get involved in a relationship. 5 days later, okay, I don't like you anymore. It's just crazy. They don't want to have kids. They don't want to get married. They don't want to buy the big houses. And you see them, they got little tiny houses. My closet is bigger than that. I'm just saying.
No, it's true.
And we've gotten so materialistic. We need so much stuff. You can only drive one car at a time. You can't drive 2 cars. So why do you need 15 cars? Just to say you got 15 cars? Well, you spend your money on what you want to spend it on. It's our responsibility as coming up as the elders now, because when you start thinking about, oh, mom and dad are gone, grandparents are gone, then your siblings start going off and dying off, and you're like, okay, well, I better get this show on the road. Know that there's something that you could do. You asked me earlier, you said, look, I'm supposed to be asking her questions. She asked me. See, that's all right. That's all right. We could do that. If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do? What would be the big thing that you would do if you know you would not fail?
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you be?
Oh, I would probably be a big Broadway singer like Ethel Merman.
Oh my goodness, I haven't heard that name. She's got the biggest voice. Oh my goodness. And we don't have that. And I'm looking at a lot of the music, the new music. Some of the new kids on the block, as they say, are do very well. Some of them I'm concerned about when their kids get up and they here come your grandkids and you saying something about a body part on you. What kind of music are they gonna leave? What kind of legacy? You can sing all the words and get the meaning to every Jerry Herman song. Are we losing that? Are we losing that? How do we cultivate that? What do we say to the people?
Well, actually, that's such a certain point, because one of my goals is to bring his music to a whole new generation. And I am hoping that the Lady Gagas of the world and the Beyoncés.
90 seconds.
That can't. Anybody ask you nothing, lady? Okay, go ahead.
That younger people embrace his music. Yes, we may. I mean, look at "I Am What I Am." That was a gold record. So we always just need to constantly find younger, hipper, wonderful singers that will sort of put his music in a new idiom.
60 seconds.
You know what? It just came. As soon as you said that, I just saw Jennifer Hudson on stage playing, doing "Hello, Dolly."
Okay, which is amazing. And then the other thing too, because I know we don't have that much more time, but if you've ever seen Leslie Uggams sing "I Am What I Am,"
I am what I am.
Okay, so that goes totally against type. She's not a gay man. She's not white. And I will tell you.
And a pretty woman.
Gorgeous woman, elegant and stately. I will tell you, there is never a dry eye in the house. Nobody sings it better than she. So that's what I love about Jerry's music. It is for everyone. Everyone can embrace it.
10
Sing.
seconds.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing all these wonderful
Thank
stories
you.
with us. Remember, okay, I'm telling we got it. We got a date, and remember, I keep bill money.
You get
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dorian, and she keeps the music and the lyrics of her godfather, Jerry Herman, alive and going. Thank you so much for joining us. You all have a wonderful day. And remember this: no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, it matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love. Now,